Hey, how's it going? This is Melinda and welcome to my channel. Today I am going to be showing you some incredible records, and what makes them so special is they have been recommended by viewers like you and other people here in the vinyl community that makes videos that highly recommends these records. And I know if you're like me in your real life, sure, there are people who will say, oh, this music's great, that music's great. But when someone here in the vinyl community, someone that loves vinyl the way we do, recommends an album, I tend to pay closer attention. And that's what I'm going to be showing you here. Incredible records recommended by people that I watch on vinyl videos, as well as people who've left comments and given recommendations. So if you're not a subscriber to my channel, please subscribe, hit the like button, the notification bell. Thank you so much, because your help encourages my channel to grow, and I really appreciate it. So let's get started with this. First off, I just want to say this because the last couple of videos I made were about Mobile Fidelity. Just to give you a quick update, Mobile Fidelity has issued an apology. You can read it and determine for yourself how you feel about it. I thought it was very thorough. And they've also been on their website going back. And so for future purchases, they're letting you to know the sourcing of their music and what they're doing. They've also gone back to records they've already had out, so you know what the source of those are too, in case you're in the secondary market looking for these records. So they are attempting to now be very open and honest, which is a good thing. And now we're going to have the information and we can make our own decisions. So I felt like after the last couple weeks talking about them, it was only fair to Mobile Fidelity to let you know that they have apologized. So let's move on to now the fun topic of these wonderful records that have been recommended by other channels and viewers from my channel. Let's get started with one that I was watching a couple weeks ago, and I really apologize because I don't remember which video it was. It was a Mike and a Michael and a Michael and a Mike. I don't know. I got very confused because I watched all of those videos and I took it in. I really enjoyed them all. But in one of those videos, it was Michael Fremer, and he recommended just off the cuff. He just wasn't really even talking seriously at all. He just said off the cuff, this is what you need. I love Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys. And I think it's a great album. I have the stereo version from Analog Productions. It's a 45 RPM, sounds fantastic. I've always wanted to have an original mono pressing. Well, he just kind of said off the cuff, you know what? The one off of this particular record is what you need. It's what Brian Wilson wanted, and it's the best sounding mono version of it around. So I took note of that. I immediately looked it up. So let me show you this, okay? Now, I have been at record stores and I've seen this album before, but I've never really paid that much attention to it. It's called Carl and the Passions, So Tough, okay? So that is a record, and you turn it around though, and it's the Beach Boys Pet Sounds. This is a twofer, and it's incredible. It's a mono version of Pet Sounds, and here is the label for it. Well, that's the Carl and the Passions one. Let me get to the Pet Sounds one. Yeah, this is the Pet Sounds. Let me show you the label. It says on here it is Brother Records, Reprise Records. And if you look on the bottom of it, it says this recording is pressed in monophonic sound the way Brian cut it. So it's the way Brian Wilson wanted this record to be heard. So that in itself, you know, is worth listening to. So I bought it, I cleaned it up, I cleaned both of those records, but of course I was more interested in the Pet Sounds record. Put it on, and at first, you know, wouldn't it be nice, blah, blah, blah. I thought, okay, it's okay. And then all of a sudden, they're kind of towards the second chorus in the middle, it just gets unbelievably good. So it is a great sounding pressing. I wouldn't say it's better than the stereo version of Analog Productions. I think they nailed it. But now I no longer feel the need to have a first pressing in mono, because I think this is fantastic. So that was just a recommendation from when I was watching vinyl videos, and I got it for very cheap. So if you ever see this record, Carl and the Passions, So Tough, flip it around, make sure this is also in there too. And if you see it, they're usually really cheap. Pick it up. You will have a great sounding pet sounds. Now, next up, this is one that you all have never seen before. It is limited to 100 copies. It's a great record. And I don't know if you can see in the back, I just had some bookshelves put in. You all know if you're vinyl collectors, bookshelves are a must with an expanding collection. I know a lot of people in my real life are like, come on, you all get it. I know you do. But the last day I spent lifting records, moving them to and fro everywhere. At the end of the day, after 12 hours, my back was killing me. So this was a really cool record. This is Michael Christensen, Galactic Clarity. And I put this one on. My back was hurting so bad. And I didn't take anything for the back pain, but this was really good therapy. It's a beautiful, meditative, progressive rock kind of music because there's some really meditative parts. There's also a little bit of a guitar playing. There's no vocals. It's a beautiful record, and just check it out. This is the prettiest record when it comes to color vinyl that I now own. Gorgeous. And I would say if you look at this side here, all of these colors, the way they swirl around, it's a great representation of how this record sounds. So I'm going to leave the information, if I can figure out how to leave information on Bandcamp, because I know this record is available on Bandcamp for you to listen to. I say it's highly worth it. Thank you so much to Michael Christensen for making this beautiful record. It was pressed in Canada. It sounds great. I appreciate that. That was fantastic. So next up, a record that so many people here just on my channel recommended to me. I mean, it was just, you gotta listen to this one. You gotta listen to this one. And I finally thought, okay, I am going to listen to this. I try to always listen to something from, when there's a recommendation, I try to listen to all of them. This one was a standout to me. I had Roxy Music in my collection, a greatest hits record, and I just didn't dig it, so I got rid of it. But everybody kept saying you have to have Avalon. So there is a half-speed mastered version out right now. Just a really cool record, good price, sounds unbelievably good. I haven't been digging these half-speed masters, not all of them, but this one is fantastic. Now, I really love this whole album. My favorite song is still the first one more than this, but I'm sure as time goes on, what usually happens for me is I start to really dig something else and then go on to the deeper cuts. That's usually what happens. But I love this record. And, you know, these half-speed masters from Abbey Road are getting a bad name. Do not hesitate to buy this. I really feel like it's just so light. The way the vocals are treated on here, I mean, it's a gorgeous record. So, next up is one that I was watching Vinyl Richie. I really love his channel, and he was talking about the 10 best albums from 1975 in his opinion, and he showed one that kind of hit home to me because a couple weeks ago I made a video about Elton John and thinking having the greatest hits compilations was probably good enough besides Goodbye Yellow Brick Road and Madman Across the Water. Well, a lot of you in the comments corrected me and said, no, there's so many more really great Elton John records. And so when I saw Vinyl Richie saying this was one of his favorites, I took note. And it was dirt cheap. I think I paid $2 for it. It is Elton John's Rock of the Westies. And I'm really grateful that he recommended this or talked about it on his channel, because when you collect Elton John's greatest hits, and that's all you have, you kind of think, okay, he was just a wonderful singer of ballads. And he was, and he is. He's fantastic. His ballads are his strength. But there's another strength to him too. He's actually a rocker too, and I sometimes forget that. And this has a lot of great rockin' tunes on it. The last song, I think it was on the first side, is a ballad that's really beautiful. And of course the hit Island Girl on here is great. But, you know, for $2.50, I couldn't have gotten more bang for my buck. And I'm very, very grateful to Vinyl Richie for just talking about it on his channel. So I really love having that one. Here is another record that's really cool. I have a really good friend in the vinyl community, Jeff from Jeff's Various Vinyl, and he has not been making vinyl videos lately. I need to check in with him. Maybe he's fallen in love. I have no idea, but he hasn't been making videos lately. But in the past, he made a huge pitch and talked about this record. So I thought, okay, if it ever comes back in stock, I'll pick it up because I trust his judgment. So this is Tiger Lily by Natalie Merchant. This is the Mobile Fidelity 45 RPM version, so it sounds really, really good. My copy is number 6,976, and this is a really good record. I don't love a lot of the records that came out at this time period, but I really loved the song Wonder that came out. Carnival was my favorite off of this. I really like it. Jealousy's a decent song. But I really love the opening track, San Andreas Fault. He talked about Beloved Wife on his channel and really strongly recommended giving it a listen. And I did, and I really liked this. So when it came back in stock, I bought it. So thanks to Jeff at Jeff's Various Vinyl for this beautiful recommendation of a wonderful record. Next up is one that I saw on Paul from Fit to Be Tie-Dyed's channel. I don't believe... He went through a series of changes, so I don't think if you go on Fit to Be Tie-Dyed, you'll find his recommendation of this record. So I call Paul my vinyl Yoda, because anytime I've ever had a question about a vinyl pressing, he has been able to tell me exactly what it is. He's a genius at that. So he recommended this particular version of this record and showed it on his channel, and I thought it was gorgeous, so I wanted to buy it. Rolling Stones, El Macambo, 1977, and I have collected some of their live records. They're just really packaged well. They sound great. This is a standout, and what's cool about this particular one in the history of the Rolling Stones is this was in Toronto, a grungy little club called the El Macambo. People bought tickets to see April Wine, a really cool band from Canada, and they did get to see them. But what they didn't know is those 300 people got to see April Wine as the opening act, and in comes the Rolling Stones. I can't even imagine. My mind would be blown if I thought I was seeing April Wine and I got to see the Rolling Stones as an added bonus. Unbelievable. And what's cool about this is there's a lot of tracks on here. You know, when you buy those live records, of course there are some songs they have to absolutely sing. They're part of the set list. This one really ventures out into some different recordings, so I thought it was really cool. And here are the inner sleeves with wonderful pictures of that night. There's 2 nights to it, but most of these were recorded on one particular night. There's a couple of added bonuses from a different night. Really, really cool. Love that Mick Jagger. Very, very cool. So I love these, and I bought this exclusive limited edition version because of the color combos were so pretty. Here's the pink version of it. The second LP, blue. Third LP is yellow. They're those translucent color, which I think I prefer over the opaque when it comes to colored vinyl. And finally, this fourth LP, and they did not put any music on the very, very last. And I'm trying to see if you can see this. It's hard to see, but there is the tongue. It's like a what you call, let me see if I turn around. There you go. Now you can see it on here a little bit. You can kind of see their logo, the tongue on here, because that last one they just went ahead and did not put music on. So I thought that was very cool. It's a great live recording by the Rolling Stones, very historical, and I love having that one. A lot of people on their channels were recommending that one. Now this next record was a gift given to me, and I was not familiar with their sound, but I was familiar with the band for a silly reason. A lot of times back when I was collecting, I've given up on finding this record in good shape, but I was looking for the Bee Gees Odessa, and I wanted that fuzzy cover. I never could find it. But when I was flipping through records, a lot of times I ran across this particular band because I thought I was going to be finding the Bee Gees Odessa, only to be finding the Beach House Depression Cherry album. Well, I didn't end up buying that one, but a really cool guy called, from the channel Mike's Got the Spins, he sent this record my way, and I was just so thrilled. Beautiful packaging and really great music. It's called Once Twice Melody by Beach House. I mean, it's got this leathery feel. The packaging is to die for. Unbelievable. It comes on a really pretty gold vinyl. And also on a really pretty clear vinyl. Beautiful packaging. Inner sleeves are gorgeous. I'll show you a couple of the inner sleeves. A wonderful book. I mean, it's just a beautiful packaging. You can't get better than this. Gorgeous book with beautiful pictures. The music. What's really cool about this music is it's very meditative. It's very cohesive. Every song kind of goes into the other one in a beautiful way. It sounds like something that's fresh and new, and yet it sounds like something that could have been recorded in the 60s at the same time. The vocals, the way they're recorded, it's very lush. It's very just atmospheric and airy. And it's really cool to now know a band that I had been seeing their records, and now I know how they sound, and they're really good. So I don't venture into new music and new bands very often, but this is definitely one checking out. And I thank you so much to Mike from Mike's Got the Spins. I'm going to leave a link to his channel below. He has a new channel. Please subscribe and check out his videos. He's really cool. He also gave me a really cool Cheap Trick pick that I love, and he's a huge Cheap Trick fan. So check out his channel. Now, the last record I'm going to be showing is one that I bought off Discogs. It's one I've been wanting to add to the collection. I'm a huge Bob Dylan fan, and this one is really cool. This is the Basement Tapes, Bob Dylan and the Basement Tapes. And so this one has got a really unique history to it. Bob Dylan was on fire in the late 60s, putting out Blonde on Blonde and Highway 61, and I mean, just really great stuff. And he went on tour back in, I think, 1966, 1967 with a band called the Hawks that later became The Band. Well, after his Blonde on Blonde tour and after everything had wrapped up, he got into a motorcycle accident. And while he was recuperating from that, he took a long time off. So we thought, but he was actually with the band, some members of the band, creating these wonderful, raw, and great songs from the Basement Tapes. This was actually recorded in 1967, but didn't make it onto vinyl until back in 1975. And I decided I wanted to get this, and I saw on Discogs the Mobile Fidelity version. I was looking through different people that had it for sale, and I noticed one. It was the cheapest price available, and they didn't have a ton of sales, but everything was positive. I think at that time there were around 58, 60 sales. I'm leery of buying from people that have not had a lot of sales, but I looked very carefully and I saw the name, Brian's Vinyl Records. And I thought, is that the guy that makes vinyl videos? And it was. So Brian's Vinyl Records, he has a Discogs, and I bought this from someone I knew, and I knew I could trust. And I am not disappointed at all. And I love this record, and he sent it to me. Now, he hasn't had a ton of sales. He's had 100% positive feedback. He has done a great job. So I do not recommend people from Discogs or eBay ever. But I say if you are looking for a certain record and you see it's from Brian's Vinyl Records, he's got a lot of records for sale, pick it up. And this is something also that he sent as a strengthener just to protect that Mobile Fidelity record. He sent this old beat up version of Freewheelin' Bob Dylan. The record was still included. It's not in the best of shape, But he sent this one as a strengthener, and this is one of my favorite album covers of all time. This one in Odyssey and Oracle by the Zombies. And I love the way this one aged. Right before I started making this video, I cracked this glass on this, but I was going to change out the frame anyway because I want to hang it on my wall. But if you look really carefully, the way this record is aged, it almost looks like it's snowing on this picture. So I just loved it even more. I love that it looks so old. It's an older version of this record, and I just love the way it had worn. So I'm going to be putting that one on the wall. So if you ever need a record and Brian's Vinyl Records is selling it, he's very fair, he packages well, and he does a great job. So that is my video today. Let me know what you think. If you have any more recommendations of records, let me know in the comments. Please subscribe, and I will see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.